So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining inside the EQ Coach journey. My name is Ilaria Boffa, for those of you who do not know me, and I'm the 6 Seconds Europe Social Impact and Account Manager. And with me today, so I am the host, and I will be in conversation with Natalie Reutemann. No, Natalie, would you like to say something?
Yeah, sure. I've been around for many years. I used to work for in China for 6 seconds with 6 seconds, and since this year, I'm the global director for our certified network for all our professional segment, and especially focusing in Europe. And I'm an EQ coach, PCC. So
Wonderful.
that's why we're here today.
Yes, and today really we'd like to accompany all of you through this EQ coach journey, just to share with you a few feelings, thoughts, and actions. So how to go in the field with EQ coaching tools, and also what are maybe the challenges that you are experiencing. But before starting with the beautiful presentation, we'd like to do a poll with you, two polls. So let me share the first one. So we'd like to ask you, what are your feelings about you as a coach? So I hope you can see it and you can start voting. So there are a few feelings. Yes, I see some answers. So we have, I feel driven, anxious, confused, motivated, focused, inspired, curious, challenged. And in this moment, we have curious being, the leader here. And then we have inspired, motivated, also a little bit challenged, though, together. Wonderful.
And also, I see a bit of anxious coming up, anxious,
Mm,
confused coming up. Great.
yeah.
I don't know if there are people that this is the first time they join a webinar or online event by 6 seconds, LinkedIn Live, or one of our global webinars, but we really believe that emotions are data. So when we're asking
Mm,
you this, we're learning a lot about where you are in this journey. And what I
yeah.
see is a lot of feelings. What do
Me
you
and
see, Ilaria,
yeah,
when you see this
yeah.
list?
I think that as always, we have multiple feelings at the same time. And at times, even, in the kind of Pluchik wheel dimension, they can even be at the opposite side of the spectrum, or they can have a different kind of intensity. So it's not that strange to feel curious and maybe inspired, but also challenged. So it's something that maybe you also felt over the years as a coach. And so definitely I'd like to then ask you a little bit of your story of being a coach. But let's go to the other poll that we'd like to share with you, because we also would love to know where you are in your coaching journey. So just to understand, if, for example, you are new in your career change, maybe, and expanding your capacity and toolkit, maybe you are in this phase of the coaching, or maybe you are dealing already with challenges and opportunities, working on yourself. And also, here there are multiple choices, so you can pick more than one, working on yourself, on your patterns, and working on your purpose and focus.
I see many that are already in the coaching
Mm,
journey and really are more about expanding. So
yeah.
uh, I think what I would like to do is really invite everybody to send your questions to us as well today, because that's part of
Mm,
why we're here today, also to
yeah,
respond to specific questions you may have. So
absolutely.
we'll have, I hope, some time at the end of the day, but at the end of the meeting, but also maybe even earlier, Ilaria, if you see that uh, there's a question that I should answer right away,
Oh,
let me know.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
please,
Yeah.
so you can type in the chat your questions along the way, and I will stop Natalie and we'll ask the question. So at the end, also, we will have a final Q&A session. But, absolutely go ahead. Also, as soon as you have a doubt or you want to go deeper with a concept. Okay, let me end this poll. Okay, so I think that I don't know if people saw the results. I hope so. Otherwise, this is the results for the where you are in your coaching journey. So I think, expanding your capacity toolkit, as you said, and working
Yes.
on themselves, this is great. Okay, so let me stop sharing and we can start, Natalie, and I'd like to
Yes.
start from you,
Yeah, sure.
right?
I'll be glad to share. I don't usually share this in a webinar, so I'll be glad to start with that. I've been in education and specifically around informal education since I'm very, very young, since I'm 15.
Mm.
So part of me being already in high school was around education, around democracy, around equality, around human rights, around really a lot of what we call today soft skills and what that means, and really educating children. So I
Mm.
always saw myself as an educator, and it was very natural for me to then grow into being a trainer, then growing into a facilitator. And I had the chance to meet 6 Seconds really by serendipity when I was starting to work in Beijing, in China, in 2006. And 6 Seconds China was just created at that point. So I started really working on more with business, not only in the education realm. So that's really how it started, emotional intelligence in general,
Amazing.
and doing the practitioner and starting to train. And then as 6 Seconds also shifted towards coaching around 2013, 14, 15.
Yeah. And I could say also that in Europe, for example, is recent. So we also refocused on the coaching
Mm-hmm.
experience and journey in the last years.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, yeah. So around 2015, when we did the first EQCC cohort, I was invited to participate with Marilyn Jorgensen and Joshua Friedman. And that's really like the moment when I'm like, oh, I could also be a coach, especially living in China. That wasn't something that people were already talking much about.
Mm.
And also maybe this feeling that maybe doesn't really fit what I'm doing. No, I'm a trainer, I'm a facilitator. This is more like psychotherapy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. So I had a whole process first of understanding what does it mean to be a coach before even coming to the course. And
Yeah.
then it was a really big journey for me. I think today we have some people that are already EQ practitioners, and I really feel like in terms of my own EQ practice, personally and professionally, EQ practitioner was really a milestone for me. And the second
Mm.
one was the coaching journey, the EQCC
Mm.
journey. So that was in 2015. Today I'm a PCC with a very clear niche supporting change makers
Mm.
and really supporting other people to become coaches. So I love mentoring, supervision, and
Mm.
training the course of coaching when I'm the one training it. I'm part of a growing faculty that
Yeah.
is teaching this course. So, in a
This is
nutshell.
wonderful. Yeah, this is wonderful. And so it's natural also to ask you, and also if all of you you'd like to put the answer in the chat, but I'll ask Natalie, what is coaching? And maybe what are the challenges that you also faced over these years and maybe are common, for the people here in this webinar.
Yeah. Let me start by, I mean, there's many definitions of coaching, and this is
Mm.
really something we talk about two things. What is coaching and what is a coach? Because
Mm.
there is a very interesting conversation when you get into coaching around not only the doing of coaching, but the being of the coach. But if we just look first of all at ICF definition, which is the organization we work with, it's a very known definition.
Mm.
Partnering, I love this, is partnering, this is the verb we're using, with clients, not with patients, in a thought provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. So I like this definition because you can really double click on many points here. What I want to add, and I think in emotion in 6 seconds we do many times, is this process is not only a thought-provoking process, is an emotion-provoking
Yeah.
process. And we cannot really be creative. We cannot really bring change without emotion in it. So whether we want it or not, we will provoke emotions. And I believe that any coach, even if they don't define themselves as EQ coaches, need to take that into account. So my wish would be that this definition of both thought and emotion provoking creative process,
Yeah.
because then it will be more aligned and more balanced.
And this is the reason why actually 6 seconds created a pathway that then you will talk about, which is EQ coaching, because for sure that the emotional side, and so integrating emotional intelligence into a pathway of coaching is our expertise, and for us it what makes the difference, right? So yeah. And already there are
So
people
questions?
asking, yes,
Yes.
asking questions. One is very practical,
Okay.
and I just pause it for a second. I see also Hilda saying, interesting, this is similar to what I am trying to get my head around, the emotions and knowledge exchange and the impact of emotions. So thank you, Hilda, in the process of coaching. So absolutely. And then Daniela asked a question that maybe I don't know if you want to answer immediately because it's again it's more practical. And she says, I have an experience with a subordinate who didn't accept her manager from the beginning. Their paths had to part. How do you handle this situation? The subordinate didn't want to explain her decision to ignore her superior, and all tools were used. She wanted to be heard. She did not use the option. She was allowed to choose her own method of communication, to follow her superior instructions, even though the manager complied with her request. It didn't help. The ignorance remained.
Wow, Daniela, first of all, it seems like a very complex situation. I think my first question will be, who are you in that story? Are you the coach of the manager? Are you the coach of the subordinate? Are you an in-house coach? Are you the HR manager? Are you an external coach? I think that in these complex situations, it's really important for us to understand what is our role there. What is it that we are doing?
Oh, Daniela was the
Okay.
manager.
Okay. Thank you, Daniela, for sharing that. And I can understand if I will be that manager feeling like I tried everything, then what can I do? So Daniela, let's put that aside for a minute. And I'll go back to the challenges, first of all, of being a coach. And I think there is a difference between me learning some coaching and then using it in my management, or me being a professional coach. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But so we know the definition, right? We're going to be partnering, not supporting, sorry, we're going to be partnering. Do you see the difference? Like if I'm supporting is I am here, you're here, right? No, I'm going to partner with you. I'm going to be what we call a guide on the side. So that's really challenging in the situation Daniela is talking about because by definition, I am here in terms of the hierarchy in the organization. So that's very challenging to use coaching when we're also the manager of somebody. And there is a lot of ethical questions to learn about. In terms of our own coaching journey, there are many different challenges, but we can talk about one challenge first, which is the patterns I need to change or the patterns I need to be aware of. So first, I'm changing my role. In my case, I was a trainer. Now I'm saying, oh, I want to be a coach. That's a different identity. That's a different role. It brings different responsibilities. It brings different expectations, both from myself, from others, but also what I think others expect from me. So having awareness around the role, the identity, and how that changes. And it takes time to build that and to really be clear about it and be confident about it. And it requires practice and also something I'll mention today, that is self as coach. So first, I'm changing my role. And it's a choice to do. Am I going to then stop doing my other roles? Or am I going to be having one more role? In my case, am I stopping being a trainer and a facilitator and only be a coach or not? all those are choices to make, and there is also ethical consequences to that. For example, according to ICF, you're not supposed for the same client to be both a consultant and a coach. So many things that when you go into coaching, you need to start thinking about and learning about. And then the patterns. So I look at, when I'm the trainer, it's like all the participants are in the bus and I'm the driver, right? Because it's like, okay, I have 7 hours or I have 8 days, whatever it is. We have very clear objectives. There's a very clear destination. I'm driving the bus. I decide how fast we go, right? And do we take the highway or not, right? So I'm the bus driver. I am, and then if I use 6 seconds philosophy, and if you don't know much about it, I will mention it later on. I maybe will be more of a facilitator, so I'm not the only driver. And maybe I turn around and say, "Hey guys, where are we going today? And where do you want to stop?" And and somehow we're still in the same bus, even though part of our philosophy is no way is the way, right? There's clear expectations of, there's still a lot of power that I have as a facilitator. Now, if I'm a consultant, maybe I am driving the car. I am the taxi driver and I'm supporting my client get somewhere. I'm driving. I have the expertise. I'm the expert. When I'm the coach, I am in the car, but I am not driving the car. I'm sitting next to the driver.
You're a co-pilot. Or not even that.
Not even.
You're not even a co-pilot. Yeah.
Because I don't decide the destination. The client decides the destination. Where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve? And it's so important as a coach that is your client that defines what they want from this session, what they want from 6, 12 sessions, whatever it is that you're going to be partnering with them. So imagine the amount of patterns we need to change, right? Before, my expertise is in teaching, in training, in driving. And now, I don't know if it ever happened to any of you, but sometimes when my husband is driving, I am still with my leg trying to put the brake and really want to touch the wheel, right?
Yeah.
And that's my pattern of being responsible, taking control. And that will not work when I'm the coach. I am not the one driving. So that's where in EQ coaching, this process is a process of not only learning the theory, learning the competencies, like we say always in coaching, like you need to ask questions, ask more, say less. Yes. And that's also part of changing some patterns, right? But the main thing is really working on what we call self as coach. So some of you, if this is not the first time you participate in a webinar with 6 seconds, you're familiar with know yourself, choose yourself, and give yourself, which is really the EQ model, the process framework we use in 6 seconds. And it's a process, right? In terms of self as coach, I need to be more aware of my own patterns. I need to be present and intentional and make new choices. And then how I connect to purpose. And in the give yourself, there is also connection. How I use my own empathy to partner with my client. So this is a whole challenge around patterns. How do I change that? And the self as coach is something we really cultivate in the coaching journey in 6 seconds.
And I think it takes a lot of trust. And not only trust towards the client and the clients towards the coach, but also towards yourself. Trusting, that you can stay in that process, that you can be a coach in that moment, that ethically even you're there to be the guide, as you said on the side, right, Natalie?
Yeah, and the idea of self as coach is that you do coach yourself, but also this idea that how you develop that internal landscape where you might have a judgmental voice and self-critical voice
as always
saying I'm not doing this according to the standard way, right? Or like, did I really listen? Am I really present, right? Like, how do we use our own emotional intelligence So
Yeah.
then we can really support and partner with our client. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's another challenge. And then there is another challenge that we're going to be talking a bit less about today, but it is also really important, which is really around how do I build confidence? How do I get clients? Because once I have the being and the doing, okay, how do I grow my market? Especially if I'm now looking at becoming an independent coach. Maybe before I was an employee, there's many, many changes going around.
Mm,
And I know today there are many platforms that can help and many things to learn about it. But then there is also that as another really important part of the journey where you
sure.
build your confidence and you build your niche and you build your case studies. And then another one, when after all of that, is how you really scale,
Mm,
because it's still all demanding your own time. You cannot have more than a few clients a day.
yeah.
So that's another thing that Six
It's
Seconds can
very
really
energy
support with.
consuming. I mean, being,
Mm,
working as a coach, it's really energy demanding, I think, right? Presence demanding. So,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. And I'd like also to ask the attendees, please share your own challenges. Daniela did, as a
Mm,
manager in that
mm,
case. But maybe you also, all of you here in this webinar, you have other challenges that you have been experiencing over the years, or also as a new, in maybe career change, new
mm,
coaches.
mm.
And please type this in the chat, because definitely it's a way to share the pain, right? Also,
Yes,
if we say it out loud and we put it also in a conversation.
yes. And in the meantime, maybe I can also just reply a bit more to Daniela and from
Yeah.
that learn a bit more about what I believe is our approach. So, in 6 seconds, many people come to 6 seconds or come to learn about EQ with us or with our certified, wanting to change somebody else, like, my husband, my kids, my boss, my employees, my clients. They need more EQ. I'm going to learn here how to do that, right?
Yeah.
And we really believe that change starts from inside. So we cannot really change somebody else. Even
Yeah.
changing ourselves is really not easy. But if we change even just a little bit our own pattern, that will impact the other person. And then
Absolutely.
our relationship will change and then the system will change. So, my question to Daniela will be more around what in that relationship triggered your patterns. You have your patterns, she had her patterns. And sometimes those patterns are not really matching, so the wheels are not really working well together.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, this is a very interesting question because, our brains, the coach's brain and the managers and the
yeah.
employees, we have different patterns and also brain styles. This would be maybe something that we can discuss in a different webinar. But
Yes.
yeah, it's very, very important to just to analyze our own, reflect on our own patterns. And when I do this, when this happens, how I react or
Mm.
respond in that
Yes.
situation. So this
Yes.
is the pattern for, I know all of you, know it, but, just to frame it in a very simple way, it's just, when something happen that can be also a trigger for you or a situation, a repeating situation, then you react or respond in a certain way. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
And we know that emotional intelligence is smarter with feelings, is really about having that awareness of our feelings, our triggers, our patterns. And then, as we saw in the model right now, how then I make a new choice, create more
Mm,
options for myself. So,
yeah.
as an EQ coach, we are the tool. We are learning to be more comfortable with uncomfortable feelings.
Yeah.
So, being an EQ coach with 6 seconds is not about, okay, now I'm a coach. And like, okay, now I'm not a coach. Like there is self as coach is something you cultivate in everything in your life. So you're also
Yeah.
the first beneficiary of that. Like you're the first person that really benefits from it. And it's hard work. So let me tell you a
Definitely.
little bit about the journey, how that happens.
Yeah, in fact, I wanted to ask you, okay, this is when we say, oh, it's 6 seconds, we become EQ coach, but how?
Yes. So first, right now we have the three levels of coaching with ICF. We have level one, two, three. Level one allows you to start to be a coach, and then level two allows you to be a professional coach, and then level three allows you to be a master level coach. That and for that you need 2,500 logged coaching hours and more than 200 hours of learning coaching. So this is a process. I did the process I'm going to tell you about in around a bit more than a year. But the good thing is you can pace it as you want. So it's not a full-time job unless you want it to. But even if it's a full-time job, it will still take some time
Yeah,
because you need to practice. It's like,
yeah.
sometimes I
And
think about,
Natalie, let me also clarify, sorry to interrupt
yeah.
you because it's important. Usually people ask me when I take their calls, when we are together, they ask me if they can become EQ coach without then doing exams with ICF. And this is absolutely
Yes,
possible. I mean,
yes,
right? So
yes, you're certified with 6 seconds. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
highlight also this that we
Yes.
mentioned ICF because, of course, all of our programs, part of the EQ coach, are accredited, and the pathway is ICF accredited. And so then add in the practical hours, you can go and do the
Yes.
exams. But, you
You can
can,
choose not to and
yeah,
be 6 seconds. And I'll tell you about it now because what I like about our path, and I think also is one of the things that differentiate it, is that you're getting many, many certifications on the way, and that helps you also be confident with yourself because it does sometimes help to know, okay, I'm certified. Because the reality is anybody today can come and say, I'm a coach. I'm a sports coach. I'm an emotion coach. I'm a family coach. Because it's still not a regulated, internationally it's not yet a
yeah, true.
regulated, it's not like I can come to say tomorrow and say I'm a medical doctor, right? But anybody can come and say I'm a coach, even if they never learned coaching. What ICF, EMCC, and other associations are trying to do is really change that and say, no, that's not a random name you just put on yourself. You need to actually have the credentials for that, and there is very clear standards. And in
Mm.
6 seconds, we have a pathway that gives you different tools for the being part and for the doing part, and you can start coaching pretty early in the process to start practice that. Okay, so
Yeah.
usually we will recommend to start with a part of the core, which is the AQ practitioner, and that is really working first of all on ourselves, on our own patterns, or as growing our own emotional intelligence. So it's growing our empathy, growing our growth mindset, growing our resilience, growing our emotional literacy, all the things that are going to be really the foundation of us as coaches. So that's the EQ practitioner course that we will usually start with that. And then we will add core tools, which is the EQ assessor and the brain profiler. And then you can start doing debriefing. And the debriefing conversations are going to be coaching conversations because in 6 seconds, you're going to debrief in a way that is not about, let me tell you who you are, is really around, let's have a conversation, a coaching conversation around your report. So that's the core tools. And then you're going to come to coaching foundations and really focus on the 8 competencies of coaching. The course is based on ICF competencies and practice. So usually this course will be 8 sessions of 4 hours, and in between you will have a lot of e-learning and coaching and reciprocal coaching to do with the participants. And then you're going to go and start to practice and have at least around 50 hours before you're going to do the integration course. In the integration course, we're going to again accompany you through the process of getting from a short-term client to a long-term client, getting into really integrating everything you've learned before. When you're around 70, 80 hours at least, then you're going to go to the coaching solutions and really learn about, okay, now how do I do a coaching program? How I develop my competency so I can really be a professional coach. So these are really the steps.
Yeah, and there's a question by Sandra saying, where do you start on the Q? I think she wanted to say coaching path if you're already an ICF ACC,
Mm.
but you're not an EQ, right?
Yes,
An
yeah,
EQ
yeah.
practitioner,
Yeah.
or yeah,
I mean, you can start, if you're already ACC, you can also start only from the brain profiler or only from the EQ assessor. And in your coaching, start to integrate an assessment. And it is easier if you first do the practitioner and then do the assessor. And the good news about this is that when you need to you renew your ACC, and after 3 years you need to do that, you need more what they call CCEs, which are coaching education hours, continuing coaching education hours. And these courses give you that.
yeah.
So
So
usually we
each
will start
each
with that.
program, yes,
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
And
yeah, yeah.
Sandra, yeah, the difference is that you, of course, you don't need to go into the whole level one. For example, what we call level one, which is brain profile, brain profile certification, EQ practitioner certification, and coaching foundations. But if you want to integrate EQ, definitely you can integrate this with these three programs that Natalie shared, the EQ practitioner about the model and the methodology and yourself. So starting with using and practicing emotional intelligence and then integrating tools. So thank you for
Yes,
this
yes,
question because it's
yes,
exactly what many people ask if they are
yes,
already ICF, ACC, or PCC.
yes.
Because again, yeah,
Yeah, and you still do the coaching foundation, Sandra, but you can ask Ilaria about how to do that and what options do we have for people that are already ACC. So you still do the coaching foundations, and actually, we do have people that were MCC when they took the coaching foundations, and they thought like, oh, there's nothing else I need to learn about the competencies, and there's still so much more that we can learn about the competencies, and
yeah,
that's what I
because
love about this.
yeah, because in fact, coaching foundations is not only about the ICF competencies, it's
Mm,
integrating the Q practitioner methodology, the
yes,
tools that you learned in the brain profiler certification with the ICF competencies.
exactly.
So you would be, of course, more familiar already with the ICF, but you need to also have all the EQ skills, all
Mm,
the EQ
mm.
toolkit, let's say, with you.
Yes. So then, let me show you just the next page so you understand what you're getting at every step of the way. So if you are not yet ACC coach and you just first want to be a coach, we have the level one that we call associate brain coach, and this is till coaching foundation. So after coaching foundations, you have 100 hours and you become an associate brain coach with 6 seconds. If you want, you can also apply to ACC. You don't have to. You're already a 6 second certified brain coach. So that's the kind of the first level. And then the second level is when you finish all of it, you are actually a certified EQ coach.
Yeah.
And then when you have 500 hours, you can also apply for PCC with ICF. The good thing is, from the EQ practitioner, you already are a 6 second you already get a 6 second certification. You're an EQ practitioner. So this helps you to, if you're also a trainer or a facilitator, if you're a coach or you want to start coaching, you can start to use a lot of the tools you learn also with others. And then also here, you become a brain profiler, you become an EQ assessor. So all these things really build your reputation as an expert in EQ.
Yeah.
Okay? And why do we do all this? I really like to show this picture to all of you. This is only part of what you learn in this process. So we have a lot of growth tools. So the EQ coach cards that you see are these cards that, I mean, you can also purchase them online without doing the course, but in the course we actually learn how to use them. And you can coach yourself with this kind of question, for example, or
Yeah,
you
I
can
have
coach
them.
others.
I have been using those cards for years, and you can use it not only, I mean, with a client, but also if you have a conversations, even with your son, with your
Oh,
daughter.
yes.
I, I use them also in that situation.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I have my son telling me, stop 6 second dishing me.
yeah, the same.
He's
Or
an adolescent, so
yeah, yeah, exactly. My son over the years he was saying, "Oh, many compliments, congratulations." And you also are facilitating emotional intelligence when maybe I shout at him or So he said, "Wow, very emotional intelligence, mom.
yeah.
Intelligent." And I said, "Yeah,
I
no."
always say that my children, my all my family members are my best teachers in EQ. So you
Absolutely.
really learn how to practice this and also how to support your client practice this. I really believe that every coaching is around change. Either I want to change or I feel stuck or I need to change and I don't really feel like changing. Is always change involved. So we learn a lot around the 6 seconds change map. We also learn a very clear coaching process. And we use a lot the philosophy of 6 seconds, which I really believe is our secret sauce. And what I really find interesting and many people find a bit surprising is sometimes they feel like, oh, emotional intelligence coach, it feels like very abstract and very um, spiritual and spiritual in a way of like not something I can really measure and I can really see the ROI. And the interesting thing in 6 seconds that we really have assessments, and as a coach, you're able to see the change that you're supporting your client have. Because at the end of the day, what you want is that again, you're the guide on the side, you're not driving the car, and at the end, they're more able to achieve their destinations without us. And that's very different than therapy, right? Because therapy processes usually are years long. But coachings are not that. I'm going to partner with you for a little while to support
Yeah.
you achieve this goal using coaching tools, using the coaching approach, and then you're going to continue driving by yourself. So this really helps, especially for corporate or organization, universities, etc. It helps us to really see the pre and post. It helps us analyze and diagnose what our clients need, but also really see the impact of the work we're doing. So this is the whole part of the whole ecosystem. There are many other tools, but just for you to kind of give you a little taste of that.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned the ecosystem because I also think that at 6 seconds we build communities and also when you become a certified coach or simply a certified along the way, right, you enter a community of practice and we host many meetups and circles or other opportunities to come, connect, share, and learn. And so I feel that because in my experience, many people approaching the coaching experience, then they say, I feel quite alone in this practice because I need to find my clients, I have my clients, but then I don't know with whom, maybe sharing also my challenges.
Yes.
So I think 6 seconds offers this. And so, yeah, this is
Yes.
another thing to add.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do have coaching connections every month. This year we are updating the pro circles, which is really around different topics every time, and many of them will be for our certified coaches. So this idea that it's a lifetime practice and a
Mm,
coaching is a reflective practice. So it's not like, oh, now I'm MCC, now I don't need to learn anymore. No, we learn every day. So that's really an important approach in 6 seconds and really having this community that we support each other.
absolutely, absolutely. Now we can go back to Daniela because she expanded a little bit
Mm.
about her challenge. And so if you also other people would like to share yours, we are here. So Daniela says, here is more to explain. So for sure there were absolutely different also partners. As you said, I wanted to overcome it and adapt, but it had already crossed all my limits, boundaries of acceptance. Everyone was surprised at how she treated me. They didn't understand it. The HR manager, the director tried to solve it with her, but it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, most probably it's not a coaching approach at this stage. Coaching is not a magical wand that we can always use. And this is also really important. First of all, we usually not don't act as a coach of our subordinates. Uh, we can use a coaching approach, but we're not going to have a professional coaching conversation with somebody that report to us. The same way we're not going to be coaching without permission. And the same way that we're not going to be coaching family members or other clients. So there is a very clear ethical agreement that we learn when we become coaches around we don't coach without permission. So even if, I don't know, my husband comes back and he's going to tell me something, and of course I can ask him a question that is a coaching question,
Sure.
but I'm not going to be his coach because that's not the relationship I have with him.
Hmm.
Maybe somebody else can be his coach and I can coach somebody else's husband. But we're
Yeah.
not in the learning process. It happens sometimes that we just start coaching everybody, but it's really important we don't do that without permission. So as you see, this is a real profession that is important that you, if you decide to learn this and expand, that you do it with professional and that you're well partnered and well guided.
There's another interesting question just
Yeah.
came up. Keith asks, can you describe more of the difference between using a coaching approach versus professional coaching as a manager?
Yes. So when I'm a professional coach, I'm going to schedule a specific time and the client will define what they want to work on. So if I will be coaching now Mary, and Mary will come to the session, and we have usually either 38 minutes, 45, or maximum 1 hour, usually. Some coaches choose longer time. And they're saying, okay, what do you want to work on today? And she might say, I want to work on a work thing. I want to work on my relationships with my team members. Okay. Would it be okay for you to have that conversation if you are Mary's manager? You have your own agenda. You have your own goals. You have your relationship with Mary, right? So that would not be okay to be her professional coach in that. So what does it mean to be what we call leader as coach? I'm having a conversation with Mary and I'm her leader and I'm saying, okay, so, let's talk about the goals for this year. What is really important for you? So maybe she'll say it, working on my relationships with my team members, getting my KPIs. Okay, let's talk more about it. What are your KPIs? So I am leader as coach because I'm not just telling you, right? I'm not driving the car, but I do have a direction I want to get us to.
Yeah.
So I am using a leader as coach approach. Why? I'm listening more, I'm asking more, I am more flexible. I am understanding about how we partner. But I have a saying on where the car gets today and what's the destination. So I'm not just being a professional coach because I do have my own agenda, which you don't have when you're the professional coach. You're just there to sit next to the driver. But sometimes if you're the manager, you'll say, wait, but last year KPI, da-da-da-da, so this year KPI, da-da-da-da. Okay, so that's a different conversation. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be 100% only focusing on the agenda of the client.
And Keith, if you have further, further needs for clarification, please put it in the chat. And then Sula is asking, since you said that we don't debrief,
Yeah.
our family members, and so she was asking, can you have EQ assessments and debrief family?
Yes. I don't recommend it unless you also show yours. So, hey, I went to the EQ practitioner and I learned my own UEQ. And do you want to also take the assessment? And I'll show yours. I'll show you mine. And we'll talk also about yours and give them that choice. So, if you did the UEQ course and the EQ practitioner, you also know TFA cards. And I can tell you that I've been using this tool for 20 years. And the hardest challenges I had where I actually use it with somebody in my family because they said, "Can you show me what you do at your work?" And I said, "Sure. Tell me about a challenge you're having." And then we started with the TFA cards, and it was challenging. It's okay. I'm still in relationship with this person, but we were very clear. This is a demonstration just to show you because maybe you want to use it in your work. So we need to be very clear about the limits of that and make sure understand what's happening with the power in that relationship as well, and what happens if we try to coach somebody that's not the relationship we have with to start with.
Yeah. And then Ali is asking, can you talk more about the EQ assessor and the profiler? I think you mentioned something about a report. Also, can you talk more about the client's experience when being coached by an EQ practitioner on top of someone who is already actually a accredited coach under ICF?
Yeah, sure. So when you do the EQ assessor, you learn much more around the EQ model, which are the 8 competencies. I don't know, Ali, if you've seen it before, or Ilaria, if you want to find the model, or maybe I can look for it
Oh, yeah,
further.
sure.
And you learn a report that must be debriefed, which is the leadership report. We also have an AI report called neural network report. So it's a deep report that you learn how to assess, how to debrief. And you can also use this in coaching, in training, even in selection. And the profiler, you learn what we call the brain profile suite, which is simpler reports. As an EQ coach, you will eventually do both. So it really depends on who is your client and what's their budget, what's your budget, and also how do you want to use the report? Do you want to use it in training or in coaching, in leadership development, or also, for example, in communication? So that will depend which one I recommend you do first. Eventually, we'll do both. And I like the question, Ali, about the client experience where being coached by a So I don't know, Ali, if you are an EQ practitioner. So in EQ practitioner, we do learn a lot about the 8 competencies, and you learn a lot of tools that you can use, but we don't teach so much around the coaching conversation per se, and the coaching competencies. So there will be a different in terms of more focus on an EQ conversation or a coaching conversation using EQ. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, great, Ilaria.
Yes, and Keith is expanding a little bit, asking if 6 Seconds has a leader as a coach pathway, as well as this professional coaching pathway.
Yes, we do have a leader as coach path. However, we don't offer it for now as a public session. It's something that we can do for you in-house in your organization together with other leaders. So we have a EQ for high performance pathway that is mainly for managers, and we have a whole leader as coach path.
Wonderful. Then I
I want to
think,
reply to Daniela for a second.
yes, because
Yes,
Daniela also wrote
yeah,
something
yeah.
back.
I think Daniela, in this case, I think it may be interesting for you. When I experienced these kind of challenges, and it did happen to me where I was like maybe shocked by somebody else's behavior, and maybe if I don't want to say it out loud, but I will because I feel comfortable with uncomfortable feelings. I felt hurt. I felt used. I felt maybe abused because somebody really crossed my limits and did something that I wasn't expecting. And that is a bit of a, maybe it was an open wound for me for a while that has scarred now. But I look at that as all as opportunities for me to grow. So if this is something that keeps nagging you, even if it's not an open wound, maybe it's an kind of your intuition saying, oh, maybe there's another opportunity here around, as you're saying, to learn more about myself. Where are your limits? What are some maybe early warning signs? So I think that's the gift that 6 Seconds Emotional Intelligence has given to me, which is in many of the challenges I've had since I started learning this 20 years ago, is this idea that even the hardest challenges are opportunities for me to learn, and this really growth mindset and a very strong belief on that has really helped because there's so much that is not in control of what others
Yeah.
do, but there are some things I can do something about and at least learn from it. So
And I remember when we had many years ago this conversation also with Annabelle Jensen. It was not really about coaching someone, but having this kind of challenging situations. And she always told us, well, there are two things, two competencies that can support, and one is empathy. So having that openness and curiosity to say, well, what is one thing that I can appreciate of the other person in this moment? So in
Mm,
this
mm,
tension and challenge, what is one thing that create that common ground when we
mm,
can really maybe find not a solution, but a moment of connection, right? And
mm.
the other
Yeah.
one, the competency that she
Yes.
loves, optimism. So always trying to stop and pause and see options and alternatives. And one of the
Yes.
alternatives, Daniela, is exactly what you did here. So just sharing and
Yes.
asking, what would you have done in that
Yes.
situation? This is
Yes.
just, raising our hand and say, oh, guys,
Yes.
what is for
Yes.
you? What's up? I mean,
Yes. Yes. And I think in empathy, it's also self-empathy because sometimes we think empathy is
absolutely.
about others and we're not the recipient of that openness, compassion, curiosity, and as you're saying, appreciation, right? So that's
Yeah.
how we balance that. Annabelle Jensen always says that like any adversity is a gift, right?
Yeah.
And then Josh, our CEO, adds, but sometimes it's really not easy to unwrap that gift.
That gift.
So,
Yeah,
so yes,
absolutely.
yes,
Yeah, seeing always the pains and the challenge and the adversities as gifts, it takes a lot of
yes.
courage, a lot of compassion, and also, yeah,
And
hope
practice. It's
and
really hard
practice.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, Daniela, for sharing that and to really give us a specific example to really present also the EQ coach approach to all of you.
yeah.
I think it's about time if we see if the people
Yeah,
have
to
any
go
other
into,
questions.
yes, otherwise we can also think of to how to recap
Mm,
all
mm,
this conversation and taking with us maybe a few highlights, and maybe you also in the chat,
mm.
you participants, you can share what is maybe one thing that you're going to take home, and maybe for you, Natalie, also.
Yes, yes. I think that the EQ coach journey is really first a journey into yourself. And if you're curious about coaching and you have this little internal call, internal voice calling you,
Yes,
try it out. Try the coaching connections, have a conversation, read one of our books. Just start that process. And if you're already a coach and you really want to expand, any of the opportunities today are really going to give you many, many tools and a lot of experience that can help you expand that. So
absolutely. Thank you.
maybe just let me just share the 1, 2, 3 pasta, and if you don't know what
Yes.
it is, you can ask Ilaria when you schedule with
Yeah.
her.
And
So,
Hilda said that she actually probably she needs to go, but
oh, great.
she said that her takeaway today is that she's still a work in progress, and
Mm,
that's okay.
yes, thank you for that. So the 1, 2, 3
Absolutely.
pasta is really about, moving towards action. So I invite you to the coaching connections. We have coaching connections next week on Thursday. And of course, you can always schedule a call with Ilaria Boffa. Ilaria is here to support you.
Absolutely.
And we have the next EQ practitioner in May, and
Yes.
it's online, so it's kind of an easy way to start. You don't need to travel. And there's many other ways that if you can join EQ cafes and many other things. I think what's important is really to continue that practice.
Absolutely. And please, you can directly schedule a call with me on my calendar, on my Calendly, or you can definitely send me an email. So let me put my email in the chat, and you find me also on LinkedIn, and Natalie as well, of course.
Yes, you can add me on LinkedIn. I'm with my full name, which is Natalia, not Natalie, Natalia Reutman. I'll be glad if you add me.
Yeah.
And I think somebody was mentioning around asking, I think it was Hilda. Somebody was asking around the difference between the the EQ assessor and the brain profile.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and the coaching connections that next time is around brain talents. So if you're curious to understand what the are brain talents, how you use them as a coach, I really recommend that coaching connections.
Yeah, I thought I read that that question. Let me, yeah, it was let me check again. Ali asking, yes, about the
Yes, Ali.
difference. And also about some reports
Yes,
and talk more about client experience of being coached by an EQ practitioner in comparison to an EQ
yes,
coach, a
yes, yes,
professional coach. So,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Ali, in this link I just shared, in our event system, you can just register. It's free of charge. And we have that every third Thursday of the month. Usually it's when we have a coaching connections, and it's a global webinar we're doing. And it's
Yeah.
different than this one because everybody opens their cameras and at some point you have breakout rooms. So it's a very
It's a
curious
meeting,
way.
actually. It's a
It's a meeting.
meeting. We
Yes.
we really work together. It's a kind of workshop.
Yes.
And Sula is sharing with us that her takeaway is that I need to be aware of my patterns. I will look into self as a coach. Wonderful. And then I think another one, Sandra, her takeaway is keep a growth mindset, which I love. Yes, the coaching connection. Thank you.
Gracias, Chris.
Yes, my takeaway is the richness and
Uh,
depth of this path. Thank you so much, Christian.
and
And Renata.
Renata, the metaphor of the car. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I was just
your
mentoring
part.
somebody last week and I said, who's driving the car? And they are like, not the client. And we all have,
Thank you.
it's hard because for years you were the expert, right? And now you're like the driver. And I'm like, no, I cannot touch the wheel. I cannot tell them how to drive. It's
Yeah, and
hard.
the craziness is when the client is not driving, and so they're saying, "Oh, I
That's
don't know
your
what
pattern. That's your pattern. There you have it. So your pattern is like, come
to
on, turn
Okay.
on the car.
Please, it's not
Yes.
autopilot, so you need to do
Exactly.
something."
Yeah, 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 yeah. So all our patterns go out, and that's really
Absolutely.
because really what the beauty of EQ coach is that it's the relationship that really supports
Mm.
the client. And many people are like, no, no, I'll just ask AI to be my coach. I will use it
Mm.
for knowledge. I will not use it
Yeah.
to, we're
This
still,
can be another chapter, Natalie,
yes.
about, the coaching and artificial EQ, coaching and artificial intelligence. Well, on
Yes.
our channel, by the way, on our 6 Seconds Europe YouTube channel, you can find interesting webinars, or maybe even two, about emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence. So
Mm.
last year we recorded a few. We have
Yes.
also a research, a case study about artificial intelligence and emotional
Yes.
intelligence. You can find it on our website. So yeah.
Great.
Well,
Well,
Natalie, we are definitely at the end. I'm sorry because I enjoyed really a lot this conversation, and I'm sure that our participants they also were, entertained at least. And maybe if you have any further questions, again, please just get in contact, join our coaching connections, and connect on LinkedIn because
yes.
also on LinkedIn we have groups. And there's the emotional intelligence group where people, many coaches and certified and non-certified are there. We have over 1 million people right in the emotional intelligence group on LinkedIn. So it's really a wonderful place to be and just to share and connect. And also on the 6 Seconds Europe LinkedIn page, you can find a lot of relevant articles and posts. So stay connected.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think I've been sending the link to you instead of to everyone. Can you see now the link I'm sending? I think both Keith and Ali were asking for it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
let me know now
absolutely.
if you can see the coaching connections. Great. Thank you. I also enjoyed
Wonderful.
having this conversation with you and with everybody that was
Yeah.
communicating with us through the chat. And let us know, what do you want the next
Yeah,
time we do a webinar, and we're going to be doing this at least once a quarter. Let us know what will be interesting for you.
absolutely. And please, when Natalie, maybe you share with them also the circle, the pro circles, maybe
Yes. Yes,
people
with
can.
our certified. All our certified will get an email from me when that
Yeah,
when that is happening. Yes. Great.
beautiful.
So hope to see you in
Thank you
Coaching
so much.
Connections. Thank you.
Have a
Thank you,
great
everyone.
evening.
Have a nice evening
Bye,
and hope to see you
everyone.
in the coaching journey.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye.